Good morning, good evening, very good night. I don't know how to address you guys because we're all in a very different time zone. It's past midnight here in Dubai. I've just come from the ground, having seen an exciting match between India and Pakistan. Also done the television show, then heard Virat Kohli in the press conference, and now I'm back to connect with you guys and discuss, because I think yes, India Pakistan game is going to be a big headline, and that will be spoken about, analyzed threadbare in the next few days. We will all talk about it, that's correct. But for the moment, the bigger talking point has been Virat Kohli's press conference, and I'll just share my thoughts of what I thought of what Virat Kohli wanted to say. It was a longish, lengthy press conference. He also spoke about team's performance, his own personal performance, but I think the bits where he spoke about the break that he did and all the advice coming his way and where he stands at the moment in his career, I think that has been the most fascinating bit. We're getting to hear a bit of Virat on this tour. Usually we used to hear a lot of him when he was captain, but ever since he's given up captaincy, you don't get to hear from him once in a while. We heard, I think last time in a press conference was ahead of the Mohali game, which was going to be his 100th test match. And then there are far and few between opportunities we get to hear from Virat Kohli. Today was that one of those lucky days we got to hear from Virat, and I'll try and dissect it. I'll try and give you my opinion of what I think, what he was saying, where he is at the moment. Because see, whatever said and done, he is probably the biggest star in world cricket at the moment. And whether he does well, whether he doesn't do well, he does end up being the topic of discussion, and I think it cuts both ways. You get a lot of love, adulation also, and then also criticism, scrutiny also happens. It's happened with players in the past too, superstars in the past too, whether that was Sunil Gavaskars of the world, or Kapil Devs, or Sachin Tendulkars, Rahul Dravid. These guys attract a lot of debate, a lot of discussion, and so it has happened with Virat Kohli. In the future, who knows, could be Hardik Pandya or a Shubman Gill, whoever becomes a superstar. So I think it's a blessing, and who would be able to tell this better than a star like Virat Kohli? And I think we're now getting to see a different side of him, and I like this side of him, and we'll dwell a little bit more on that. First, let's tell you things that he said in the press conference. And sometime, when you read quotes, you may have read quotes on social media and everything, and just reading can sometimes give you a false impression of what the person is trying to say. But when you hear them live, like I did, then you actually get to know the context and what he was trying to say and what his frame of mind is. So let's start with his personal break that he took. You see, we heard from him in the broadcaster interview as well, where he said that he was trying to fake that intensity when he went on the field, and he realized that, and that wasn't him. And that's a fair point. All his life, he played cricket, he loved it, intensity came naturally to him. It was just his personality which would just manifest when it went on the field, and it just came out the way it was, and he excelled at that. Somewhere down the line, maybe he had to live up to the reputation or the expectations rather that he had of himself, and in all of that the fun was lost, and I think he realizes that now, and he said it in as many words. That's why he took a break. But he says this break actually helped him reset the system, reboot it, reconfigure it, and now he's got that love back. So that's the most important thing. He's got that love back, that he wants to be playing cricket. That's what he enjoys the most, and he wants to be back there, and so that helps. That's one way you get back in form. And I'll tell you what, I mean, we're all in a profession. I worked for 20 odd years, and there was a time in my own career where I felt that I needed to just do something else. I'd had enough of it, and all the fun and the enjoyment and the passion that I had for my job or for covering sport was just suddenly diminishing. And I thought maybe and I took a break, and that break helped me rediscover my love for my profession and the sport I loved. Also helped me understand how I should approach what I do. So again, I'm not comparing myself with Virat Kohli, and why I'm saying that, because a lot of you would also relate, and we're all in different professions. I'm a journalist, Virat Kohli is a cricket player, some of you may be IT engineers or engineers in other field, a banker, whatever you may be doing, a teacher, some of you are students, whatever you're doing, we all reach a stage where we feel we feel a bit demotivated, and we feel a bit lost, and we wonder why we're doing a particular thing, and do we need to do it the way that we are doing, and you try and look for answers. I think Virat, when he spoke about that break, he's now saying that love for that game is back, and he was enjoying playing the game. The other thing that's very important, he says that the environment of the dressing room is great, because there are a few things that he said which may be misconstrued as to people might think that he's saying he didn't get a lot of support from his teammate. So he's not talking about his teammates. I think he's talking about a lot of experts, former players and all of that, and I'll get to that a little later. So far as the atmosphere of the team is concerned, the guys that he's playing in, he made it very clear that he's loving it, he's loving the environment, and he's enjoying, and I can see that. But I'll tell you what, sometime the advantage of being on the ground, watching the game on the ground, and then being also around the team environment actually gets you the first hand view, and I have noticed it personally. Whether it's Virat Kohli on the field, whether he's fielding, whether he's batting on the non-strikers end, I can see that he's enjoying his teammates' success, and that's a great sign. That's a great sign of camaraderie within the team. And you can make out that that's not something that he's faking, he's genuinely enjoying. He was enjoying Surya Kumar Yadav batting the other day, he was cheering on Deepak Hooda today, I saw, and he was celebrating those fours that these players were hitting as if he was hitting a four. So you can see that he's really rediscovered his love for the game. So that's the first thing. I also had a chance to briefly chat with him about not more than 5-7 minutes when he was very relaxed in the team hotel. And I had the opportunity of meeting him a few times before, again very briefly, never a long chat, just casual 5-minute chat, whether it was before an interview or any other place. And I did notice a different Virat Kohli, I must say. I noticed a Virat Kohli who's at peace with himself, who's discovered his inner self. I think what that means is a person who's assured, and he says it in as many words when he says that, listen, I have realized that cricket is not be all and end all of the world. Surely at one point he was so driven that he thought this was it. He's reached that stage where he knows that it's not the be all and end all. Sometimes becoming a father does that to you. Now I'm a father, and I see the world very differently when I became one. And if there are any fathers or mothers who are joining us, they'd vouch for that too. So he's realized there are other things that are more to life, and it's not just cricket, which helps him take some pressure off himself as well. As far as his game is concerned, he said that, listen, I've been playing this game for 14 years. He understands his game. He knows where he is, what he needs to do. And these things didn't happen by chance. But what I talk about him being at peace with himself, in connect with his inner self, is the kind of things that you hear. He goes on to say in the press conference that, listen, whatever I've got is all thanks to the Almighty. He's given me. And if I'm destined to get more, I will. If I'm not, I will not. His job is to go out and work harder. He's not trying to be in control. When you try to control your destiny, I think that's when you put pressure on yourself. I think he's let go of that. He doesn't want to be in control of his destiny. He wants to be in control of things that are controllable, as in himself, that whether that is his batting, his fitness and various things, we see him do it. But he doesn't want to be in control of a lot of other things. So he's realized that, in which he says that, listen, whatever was given to me till now was given by the Almighty. Whatever will come to me will be given by Him. If I deserve more, I will get it. If it's not meant to be, I will not get it, no matter how much I try. So he's reached that realization. Even in the conversation that I had with him earlier, he seemed much relaxed than the time that I met him before. I don't know whether it has got anything to do with the break now, or in general the mental space that he finds himself in. But it's showing in his batting too. Gradually he's getting back into form. In fact, dare I say, this inning reminded me of the old Virat, who was in fine form. His 30 he got, then a 50, and then this 50, in which he looked in good nick. So once that pressure is off your shoulders, I think he's beginning to enjoy his game. So those are the things that he mentioned. And if you ask me personally, I'm liking this new version of Virat Kohli. Much more relaxed, I think, much more at peace with himself, in connect with himself. And now he's taking a look at the macro view of life around him, and that's what happens with time instead of micro views. I think that's the biggest difference. When you look at micro things, then you get caught up in the daily politics of the world, or whatever you're caught up in. But when you start looking at the macro view, which comes after some time, then the world seems like a very different place and puts you at ease. I think he's now looking at the macro view. As now I'll get to the most interesting bit where he says that listen, he was asked about all experts giving him advice and gyan, or passing opinions about where he is, how he is doing, what he should do, and he said that listen, I'll tell you one thing, and listen, he didn't have to say it, so clearly he wanted this message to go across. He said, listen, when I left my test captaincy, there's only one person who messaged me, and his name was MS Dhoni. Nobody else did. So clearly he's talking about players outside the dressing room. Of course, when he quit his captaincy, he must have spoken to his teammates and players within the team. He's clearly talking about people outside the dressing room, and MS Dhoni was one of them. So he's saying only one of them messaged me, nobody else. So he's saying if they are well-wishers, if they truly wanted good for Virat, then he said a lot of these people, they may be experts, or however you look at them, journalists, former players, however you look, a lot of them had my number, they could have dropped me a message, but nobody did. Only MS Dhoni did. And then he goes on to add that these things matter to me. He says, I'm a very honest person and I live my life with a lot of honesty. These things matter to me. I somehow remember Virat Kohli talking about loyalty earlier. So what that tells Virat, in terms of MS Dhoni, that listen, MS Dhoni is in his camp, MS Dhoni wants the best for him. That's the feeling that he feels, and that's where I think he feels secure. And he felt that a lot of people who are passing judgments on newspapers or television or social media, wherever, they had my number. They could have, if they really wanted to help me, they could have just called me or dropped me a message, and that would have been great. Rather than, he says, if they want to help me, why do you have to go through around something? If you genuinely have the best interest in mind and you want to help me, then you could have gotten in touch with him. So these things really matter to him, and I know this for a fact. I don't know where I read it, or he had said it earlier, where he spoke about loyalty and people being in his side. This is something that he mentioned earlier, and he does look at that. Maybe that also explains the post on social media, on Twitter, that he put out very recently on MS Dhoni, talking about the partnership, when I love to be his deputy. What that also tells me is that time when he gave up captaincy, and this is a sort of an admission for the very first time from Virat Kohli, that wasn't a great time. He was going through a low phase in his life, because that's what he's saying. When I quit my test captaincy, only one person messaged me. Hey, that was a low phase, and he felt that a lot of people had his number, nobody checked up with him or supported him at that time. So first thing first, that was a low phase. So this is something that was speculated a lot. We had spoken a lot on our platforms, and now it's kind of confirmed that captaincy that he gave up, it may have been his decision, but it wasn't under the right circumstances. He may have been pushed to take that decision. Eventually it was his decision, but maybe he reached a state where he said, okay, so many things going around, so much scrutiny or whatever is happening, I don't want this. You keep it, I'll concentrate on myself as a player. So it wasn't something that he really wanted to do, because of course he was very good in test cricket. He's made it very clear how much he loves this format. He's been a successful test captain. There was no need for him, and that is something we discussed a lot at the time. There was no need for him to leave test captaincy, but this he says right now, that when he left it, nobody, and he's talking about outside the dressing room, got in touch with him, and that stays with him. So that tells us two things, as I mentioned. One, that wasn't a great phase in his career, not to his liking. Things didn't happen the way Virat would have liked, and then getting no support. I know a lot of people in the comments, you mentioned that, he shot back at this expert or that expert or this. Frankly, if you ask me, having heard that press conference, I don't think he was talking about one particular person. I think he spoke about general, because a lot of advice was coming his way. A lot of opinions were also coming. What he should do, should he be playing in a certain series or not, should he be resting, should he be what should he do technically, should he give up one format, should he give up captaincy. Various advice were coming his way from various quarters, not just one name. So I think it may not be right for us to say that, oh, his he shot back at one X or one Y. No, I think he was talking in general about the amount of advice that was coming his way, and he said a lot of them could have just gotten in touch with me and told me, but that didn't happen. Anyway, that's how the cookie crumbles. If you ask me personally, I'm liking this version of Virat Kohli, and whether that helps him get his mojo back, time will tell, but signs are good and he's playing well. But as I said, I think he's stopped putting pressure on himself. He's taking every day, every match, every performance that comes in his stride, and for as long as he can serve Indian cricket, he'll continue. But if it was to end abruptly at any point, I don't think he will have as many regrets as he would have had a few years ago, when he was totally driven to get to certain places that he may have envisioned for himself or that he dreamt of. So that's the big news. He also, talking about the match, he also, extended support to Arshdeep Singh. Many questions were asked about the drop catch. He said, listen, let's go easy on the youngster. First India-Pakistan game can't be easy, so let's go easy on him. But Virat Kohli coming out speaking to the media is something that will make big news. There'll be a lot of analysis, a lot of dissecting in the days to come, but I thought I must share with you whatever that I heard and my opinion on that. So that's that. India have lost the game, but the tournament's not over. Two very crucial games coming up in Sri Lanka, Afghanistan. India will have to win that to give us fans what we are enjoying a lot here. That is India-Pakistan encounter. We've already seen two. Maybe get the third. India needs to play well. Well, they'll have a day's rest. I'll give you all the update from practice. Don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today if you haven't already. And if you missed this video, if you just joined us, go back. All the details about Virat Kohli's press conference and my analysis on that and what I thought, where he is as far as his mind space is concerned, because I've been observing him very closely, whether it's at the team hotel, at the practice facilities, at the match. So I tried to share those thoughts with you. Like the video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Sports Today. Bye bye, see you tomorrow. It's another day with all the latest updates from here in Dubai. Nikhil Nas signing off from the beautiful Dubai. That's the Dubai skyline. It's well past midnight, but the city is still buzzing. But I'm going to hit the sack. Been a long day for me. Good night. Bye.